The landmark is getting the addition of a lifetime. KTIV's Kaylee Daum shows us what's coming to Trinity Heights in Sioux City and when you can expect it.
Look, we want to do this. We want to create something that's truly special, that fits the grounds.
Trinity Heights began welcoming visitors in 1990, shortly after the 30-foot stainless steel sculpture of the Immaculate Heart of Mary, Queen of Peace, was placed on the grounds. Since then, the shrine has evolved every year with new additions, most recently with statues from a local hospital.
And it has evolved, just continued to evolve since that time.
For over 30 years, Trinity Heights has served as a sacred place in Siouxland with the goal of helping people on their journey to faith.
And it's all back to our core. We're just trying to assist people in their journey of faith. And this is what we think our next mission is supposed to be.
That mission? Construction of a new chapel. It's modeled after a Northern England, Northern Ireland chapel with a heavy emphasis on the old world stonework and design. Some of the many elements of the new chapel include the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit will be etched into the concrete floor. Stations of the cross and pews will be included, with sconces of hammered bronze that look like torches in between. The chapel will seat over 145 people. The current chapel only seats 30. And with people traveling from all across the country to visit the 16-acre shrine, it just isn't enough.
The thought was, if they're making that effort to come here, what can we do to make sure that they get their best experience? And so that's why we started to explore building a new chapel.
Trinity Heights broke ground in March of 2024 and hoped to finish the new chapel in November of this year. But Trinity Heights relies solely on free will donations, and with the price tag of over $1 million, they are building the chapel as they get funds.
We couldn't do it without the wonderful people in this entire area. They are behind us. They've been very, very generous in trying to help us get this done, and we'll get there through their generosity.
With many features unlike anything in this part of the country, Hegarty says they would rather wait and do it right than rush and not give the chapel the justice it deserves. In Sioux City, with photojournalist Ryan Knight, Kaylee Daum, KTIV News 4.
How beautiful. The new chapel is set to be complete to spring of next year. But the full 16-acre shrine, of course, is still open 7 days a week. If you would like to learn more on how you can help, you can visit the story. It's online right now at KTIV.com.